Welcome everybody. This is Arbitrage Trade. I am Royce Wells and it is September 13th, 2020. And we are recording this. We're going to look at some stocks and basically do a brief forecast for the week. I'm going to show you a few pairs that I'm looking at. I'm also going to do a recap on where we are in the market and what I'm expecting within the market. And I'm also going to show a new indicator that basically will be coming to the novice level of arbitrage. There's a pro version, there's a regular version, which is, I'm calling it SRs for support and resistance. And I know Jason asked for it last week, and basically I wanted to make sure I got the pro version done before I release any version to anyone. So yeah, I'm gonna go over that with you guys today as well. But first, let's look at the market. Let's look at the market. We always look at the market first, and we look at SPY. So let me turn off support and resistance to begin with and show you what we are seeing on SPY on the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we are seeing that Friday, we tripped a sell signal on the daily time frame. So all the way that rally that began all the way roughly April the 9th is finally coming to a close, and we're expecting some down. In that, we're expecting, we see that scalp is set, and basically on Z, it's in that nice sweet spot, which means it's ready to give us nice big red candles or pink fuchsia candles at this point in the game. We would really like to not see, or if you haven't made it clear yet, basically I warned my financial advisor somewhere around 343 to get out of the market. So before we got any of this red whatsoever, I was telling them roughly over here to get out. It went a little bit further, but then it came right back down. And basically everyone who got out and listened, they were able to save themselves a lot of grief because, yeah, the last week or so has been quite red. You'll notice that there is a Z topping the very top of that guy, saying that that was the edge of probability and we had to fall. And as it was, it did fall. So I'm looking at this guy, and I'm looking at him on basically, I'm expecting going into the election cycle, the voting cycle between now and November, I'm expecting us to drift, if not fall, somewhere to the base of this point. So around 310 is where I'm expecting this guy to get to within the next 2 or so months, which that's another basically roughly 6%, which is not a lot if you're doing a long-term gain, but if you don't want to catch any part of it, basically Friday was your ticket and your time to get out. On the weekly scale, we're still sitting up there, and it's showing so just looking at from where we were in February, where it told us to get out, we got that Z and it told us to leave. On the daily, it also gave us a Z and told us to leave. Notice, I'm not sure if you guys are using scalp like this, but you really, really should. Z Pro, or just Z, if you have scalp turned on within it, on the daily, that is your overall forecast for the system. So basically, wherever it is, no matter which time frame that you're playing on, if it's in the green, you should be playing up. If it's in the red, that's when you start playing down. Never before. So right now he's barely still on the green in the weekly, but on the daily, he's been there for quite a few days. And I usually use the daily as my governor, right? If you have access to TSB, that means for top sideways and bottoms, top sideways and bottoms. Basically, it lets you know if the market is trending up. If it's sideways, basically it's not trending up or down. And if we're actually in a downtrend, it actually lets us know we have temporarily gone into a downtrend, but as soon as it's time to recover, it lets you know and switches back up. So the market is always in one of 3 phases. And if you have access to that, please make use of that because it is vital to know where the market changes direction so that way you're not caught off guard. Okay, so that's SPY. Let's go look at IWM, which is the Russell 2000. Here, on the daily, it's been this way for at least 4 to 5 days. We had our first fuchsia candle on September the 3rd saying we were going down. He was at 156. He's currently at 149. So he's lost about $6 or so. So nothing big as of yet. But once again, he's sitting in that sweet spot. And all indicators are saying that we're still going to get more down. Typically, when scalp is sitting in the dark green or this dark orange, that's when you get your biggest and ugliest candles. So be very mindful of that. I remember telling you guys, I think it was a week or maybe even 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure, that basically technology usually leads to fall. So technology has been for at least a week or so now saying that we were going red. I think it was literally on this candle about a week ago or about 10 days ago even that we spoke and I said that he was going down. He's definitely going down. He is leading the march. Technology usually marks all the falls before they happen. So if the Qs are falling, literally the market and all the other markets and indexes usually follow the Qs down. Likewise, if Q starts to recover, it's usually the first one to show. So everyone else was April the 9th. The Q said on the 7th, you could have gotten back in. So literally, it always leading the charge. So if you're playing stocks, please be very cognizant that on all time frames, all three of the major indexes that let you know what's supposed to be going on have all tripped a sell. If you are a cryptocurrency player, you're getting a little bit hurt right now, but hopefully you see that basically set to scalp, he's going back down into that. So that huge sell-off that we saw, we're expecting more down for this. And with more down for this, I'm expecting on everything that we're looking at, I'm expecting the US dollar to get stronger during this rally. So like for the last 6 or so months, the US dollar, I'm going to switch gears real quick here. The US dollar has been getting pummeled. Literally, since mid-May, the dollar has been getting pummeled, but now it looks like we're going into a rally, and once again, it's in the sweet spot. So anything versus the dollar on the Forex side, I'm expecting to start to have a really bad day. That includes everything in the AUD USD, EUR USD, GBP USD, all of the Nzd USD, all of those guys versus the US dollar. That includes crypto versus USD, so BTC USD, ETH USD, XAU USD, XAG USD, all those guys, they're versus the dollar is getting stronger, and if the dollar is getting stronger, all these other currencies should be getting weaker. So all of these guys should rally going into the election, while basically once after the election is over, I'm expecting them to have a little bit of a pullback and recover some of their momentum. So if you're looking to play any of these guys, if you're playing anything versus the dollar, I would be going into a sell in almost any and all of these guys. So let's go look at the Forex side. I'm going to start with AUD USD. It still has not tripped its sell-off. On the daily, if you were still riding, you're still riding. If you had it set to scalp, you saw last week when it started to sell off, and hopefully you got to benefit from it. It gave quite a bit back. The week prior, it basically shot the moon and then came back down for some air. So we're trying to see if this week it'll stay underneath this line and actually follow through and fall underneath the value that it has there. And let me turn on the values. So basically fall below 0.72, 183. That's about roughly 70 or so pips lower than where it currently is. So we're watching this and we want to see what's going to happen with it. Like I said, because it is versus the dollar, we are expecting if the dollar gets stronger, it to get weaker. This guy is sitting on the very edge of the band. Last time it was here was roughly July 14th, and it basically surprised us and kept on going. Let's see if it happens again or if it actually follows through. Now I'm going to turn on that new indicator that I was telling you guys about called SR. SR, best practices. I like to use SR to tell me what's going on, and this is how I use it. SR, if I'm on the daily time frame, I show the next two below the daily time frame. And for those people who like to stack, this should work out really, really awesome for you. All right. So this is how I play SR using the 2 hour, daily, and 4 hour. Right. So if I'm playing this, If I'm being extremely aggressive, I'm waiting for the Z. If I'm not being extremely aggressive, I'm waiting for it to get above this first line. This first line is typically the 2-hour, um, uh, sorry, pulse line within the apocalypse band on the 2-hour chart. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to turn this guy, turn on the apocalypse band, go to the 2-hour chart, and quite literally, when he crossed over, that let us know that the 2-hour chart was just getting ready. Then the 4-hour chart said, okay, we're ready as well, right? And he was already, so this is one of the cool things also about all of this. The center line, they match up. So basically, if I turn this guy off, turn off the apocalypse band, you'll see that the center line becomes that pink line, which is the pulse line on the 4-hour chart. So literally how I play it is I would have my core position get in here, add a stack here, and then add a stack here. And basically the first time it crosses back under the first line, that's where I take profit on all three. So it allows me to play longer and longer term. So now I'm going to show you guys how to do it on a shorter time frame. If I'm using the 15-minute chart, same rules apply. I turn on the 15-minute, 5, and the 1. So for those people who have never stacked before, this might be awesome for you guys. It allows you to stack and basically manage your risk while you're doing it. On the 15-minute, if I'm set to the advanced band, which is basically the center of the advanced band is what that pink line is, right? So the moment I am, so the center of the Atlas, if Atlas is set to RSI, which is its default, the center pink line on RSI lets us know where we are. So literally crossing over under the first one, we add in our core position, crossing under the second, we add in our stack, crossing under the third, and that's the 15-minute, we add in our third, and then we ride all the way to our Z. So along the way, this was a 4-day trade, and in it, from your largest position, you got 165 plus another 94 plus another from the second one, 139, 146. So quite literally, you had multiple opportunities to pull 300 plus pips from this trade without even looking back. Remember I said if it crosses back over, you leave. If you want the gravy train, literally you wait for it to go back under and then you play again. If it crosses back over, you leave. Hopefully you paid attention to the Z's and you're able to keep everything that you were getting. And then basically if it reverses, you do it all over again. SR is literally, it allows you to play on any time frame because you're paying attention to those pink lines. So if I'm on the 1-minute chart, same thing apply. The 5-minute and the 15-minute are there to basically let me know where and when I can get in so that way I can stack accordingly and make sure I make very good decisions. So gets over the first, great. Add one. And then quite literally, when it goes back under, that's where you take profit on all three. It keeps you guys from having to guess or basically micromanage the trend, and you can set alerts on all of these. So SR, going into SR, you can literally say if it crosses daily support, hourly support, 15-minute support. Typically, I have mine set, if for my best practices, I'm looking for the 5-minute support. Crossing under the 5-minute support usually is where I have my alert, so that way I know you crossed under, okay, let me know. Or if you cross over, let me know. So that way I know when I'm supposed to be stacking and maybe when I'm supposed to be leaving, right? Because getting over that guy was great. Getting under is also great. All right, I'm going to go back on and I'm going to look at this guy, and we're currently seeing him. And once again, he's perfectly stacked. And when I mean perfectly stacked, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute are in place. That's literally the way you want it to go, because typically once they're imperfectly stacked, they fall right through each other to change position, and then that changing position lets us be able to play down and win playing down, right? So I'm gonna look at this guy. I'm gonna look at EUR AUD now, right? First things first, as always. Um, this is where the people who have the pro level of Z Pro, you can do this. If you don't, that's fine. We can still get this done. Just go into the daily time frame. If you have the daily level or the Arbitrage Z Pro, you can turn on Show MTZ and you set it to daily, you set it to scalp, and at all times, it will show you where that line is. So on the daily time frame, we're saying that the scalp is still in an uptrend. So guess what? We should only be looking for up entries on this guy. Currently, he fell below all this, but he should actually hold this and go back up is what we're expecting. We're expecting them to hold a 15-minute and go back up. And I say that because if I go to the 15-minute, basically it made room for more up. So it was in an uptrend most of last week, and it basically went sideways, parabolic, for a little bit. And we're expecting it to go more up. But if you're looking at it just from the daily time frame, he's neutral right now, but scalp is saying we should have more up. So we're expecting more up from EUR AUD this week, right? GBP USD. GBP USD has been falling on its laurels for the last week. And last week, this guy was a big home run for a lot of us. I'm not sure if you were paying attention inside the Forex channel. Every time I played this guy, every time I got back in this guy, I was calling it out. Same thing for GBP USD. The reason why I am playing this guy and am bent on playing this guy, the direction I'm playing this guy, is if you go to the arbitrage band on the daily, he's in a downtrend, and basically TSB, everything is saying that we're still going down, and him actually making it up to the sweet spot should allow us to have another big down candle. So if you're not playing this guy down, basically don't be surprised if he goes down later today, or if not early in the morning tomorrow, right? We are underneath on the 1-5-15, but using best practices. We're not using 1-5 and 15. We're using 4, 4, 2, and daily. We're trying to see where he is, and where he is over here is that he is just about to cross under the third line. Crossing under the third line gives us our last burst of momentum. That basically crossing under the 4-hour apocalypse starts a new downtrend, a longer term downtrend. So basically, where we're watching and where we're expecting, I'm expecting this guy to have a lot more down in the next upcoming weeks. Once again, he's versus the US dollar, so as the dollar rallies, this guy should fall. Looking at Gbp Jpy, he's pretty much in the same spot. Nice sustained downtrend from TSB. Basically, we're waiting for another big candle from spot to happen. And he is looking here, and he is already under all three. Literally being under all three, I would have all three stacked at this point for the long-term downtrend. So yeah, that's why I'm sitting. That's why I am. And I'm expecting nothing but good things from this guy in the upcoming weeks to follow, right? If you're looking to swing this guy, let's see if there's any turbulence along the way, because it's always good to know where you're going and where you're coming from. Going back to my 15.51 on my 15-minute chart. And I'm showing that I'm already underneath this guy. Has he stacked yet? No, he has not stacked yet, which means, hold on. Actually, no, I take that back. He is stacked. So we do have him basically sitting there and trying not to break above the 5-minute apocalypse band pulse line. So we're watching this guy, and we're expecting him to have a little, and when I mean little, I'm expecting maybe this afternoon to him to have a slight rally, but not be able to make it over 136.39. For those people who are trying to maybe scalp or play a little bit counter the prevailing trend that's been going on for about a week or so now, about 10 days actually. So expect some up. Don't bet the farm. If he basically gets back under and goes back under, we continue riding down. Don't play counter the trend. You won't get burned, guys. So if you, like I said, if you're being opportunistic, TSB is saying, yeah, you could try to scalp this guy. He is in a small time uptrend, but your probability is still all red. There is no green in this. And instead of playing against probability and losing, just wait it out and let it actually cross to begin whichever trend it's going to do, right? Going back under, we continue around down, basically crossing over. That's the first time I'd be willing to play it up at that point. So like I said, don't get burned. Going to the people who are very, very opportunistic, who are playing off the 1 minute apocalypse band. If you're trying to play off the 1 minute apocalypse band, I'm going to go to apocalypse band and show you where we are. So, and I'm going to actually turn on deviations to basically show you the highest possible that we would expect from that. Notice from where we are, he has the possibility. Let's see. Okay. So using SR on the daily to see trends for 15 to stack direction of trend. Yes, I am. Okay, so Daniel just asked, so I'm using SR on the daily to see the trend, then using the 15 minutes to stack the direction on the trend you saw on the daily. Yep, that is exactly what I'm doing. I just want to be going with the trend at all times. And SR is literally there to let me know, okay, we have support for the direction that we're trying to play, right? So I'm expecting on the Apocalypse Band, not sure if you guys realize this either, if you're on the Apocalypse Band, this is all you can expect out of a 6 or so hour trade. If you're trying to basically play from side to side, 134 pips total. So that means if you're lucky enough to pull all those, then great. If not, like I said, if you're playing counter trend, 30 to 40 pips might be all you're going to get. And for those people who are trying to play it longer term in the down direction, know that 30 or 40 pips is as much as it can go against you before it resumes the trend that you've been playing. So if you don't want to see any red, you can wait it out. If you're already in, that's your turbulence. You got about 40 pips worth of turbulence before, and that's possible turbulence. That's not guaranteed turbulence, right? Okay. All right. So let's go look at GBP Aud. This guy actually surprised me this week. Because the Australian dollar was falling, I was expecting this guy to rally, but apparently the British pound was getting beaten up worse than the Australian dollar, so it actually still went down. So we did see that it went out of bounds. Notice that my daily scalp is saying, yeah, we're out of bounds and we're expecting a bounce. So I am expecting a bounce here. Notice that we are stacked. We got our 1 minute. We got our 1 minute, our 5 minute, and our 15 minute. This is typically the configuration that it needs to be in for us to actually catapult and go the other direction, because they're stacked perfectly. And like I've always said, is basically you have to see it start on the 1 minute before you'll see it on the 5 minute before it makes it all the way to the 15 minute. So basically, if everything's stacked like it's supposed to, all these guys should align perfectly and then give us our nice up that we would expect for this guy. So I am expecting the British pound to actually recover a little bit, at least versus the Australian dollar this week. I'm going to go to the daily time frame to make sure that I am not overthinking this and not mistaken on this. So once again, I'm going to turn on my SR. I'm going to go back to the daily. And by the way, you guys can have more than one SR on if you do have SR. So that way you can keep track of the 15 or whatever, and even a different band. This is set to the advanced band, but there's nothing to stop you from saying, you know what, I only care about the arbitrage band. I only care about the novice band. But typically, we're always paying attention to that big trend, so that way we know what's going on with the big trend, so that way we're agreeing with the longer term trend and trading with the trend, right? So the smaller ones can be there, but you're never going to get as much money out of them consistently. You might get a little bit forewarning, but it's not worth the headache if it does turn. All right. So looking at this on the daily, we see that this guy has a 4-hour, 2-hour, and the daily is up above here. So we've basically fallen underneath all of these guys, and we're expecting him to rebound and bounce back up over. So he's literally sitting underneath, and if you're using best practices, all three are underneath, and the price underneath all three, they usually stay very close. So since we're under all three, I am expecting a bounce back to the upside on this guy. So we are seeing on the daily, he did go out of bounds, so we are expecting him to rebound. If you want to be a little bit riskier, you can try to enter early. If you want to wait it out, wait at least till the 15-minute, get back the 1, 5, and 15 stack like they're supposed to be on the 15-minute chart. So for this afternoon, I'm expecting, let's see, turn this guy off. And basically, if they crowd each other, that's also a good indication that we're expecting up. So yeah, you should be able to pull about 300 and something pips, if I'm not mistaken, out of this guy this week. Roughly 329 if you're playing him up and to the up direction. So then that's if you're playing it as aggressively as that. If you're not playing him that aggressively, expect about 200 or so. And if you're being really conservative, wanting to get above all of those, basically you can expect about 150 or so of that, just to make sure that he actually gets above, right? So we are expecting a rebound on this guy. Even going to the 1-minute chart, we may have even already gotten our entry for our core position. How I play these guys, I put my core position in once he's above the pink line. Currently, he's not above the pink line, so he has to get back above the pink line for me to even go long on this guy. So currently, he still says we're down because we're below all three, but they are converging. So I would put my core position in once he is actually back above the pink line. So that means he has to get back above 175.74.6 before we even talk about, or 75.75 before we even talking about getting our core position in to actually try to play this guy long. You can obviously always set your sell stop above and below if you're not sure of where, and whichever one trips, cancel the other one, and basically let your life go live your life. All right, let's go look at EUR-USD. EUR-USD is in the same category as AUD-USD. We're watching this guy, and we were expecting this guy to fall if the dollar was rallying. Basically, he's been sideways. He hasn't been able to get above the 1-minute on the chart. So basically, the 1-minute Apocalypse Vanity, it's the last line of defense that's holding them back. If I turn on the daily to see where we're going long term, meaning next week or so, I'm expecting him to fall down. He's basically reached that crest and basically getting under that 2-hour support at $1.17.91 is where we expect him to actually start his downtrend. So if I was setting sell stops, I'd probably set my sell stop directly under that guy for my core position, and then ride accordingly and hope that he makes it all the way back down to 112, because yeah, that's a stupid amount of pips. Even just making it from where we are to the first line of support, which is the 2-hour support, I believe, no, it's 4-hour support, is 295 pips. That's a good week no matter how you stack it, right? So core position, all the way, if you make it all the way down here, yeah, that's literally over 1,000 pips if you stack all three along, going all the way down. So you make the call, but I think there's very good stuff. I think the dollar is gonna come off and rip people's face off as it decides to go back up and get stronger as we approach the election. Okay. All right, let's go look at gold and silver. Gold and silver has been doing pretty much nothing for the last 2 weeks, maybe even almost a month. Basically, it's been in a channel. It's been sideways, right? On the daily time frame, he has just broken under. I know. I think Mike said that he played gold or silver down. I'm not sure which one he played down last week, but it was able to make some good money riding it down. It's past the first line of defense. So if you have a core position in place already, bravo. If you're not sure yet, basically you can wait till either the 4 hour or the daily agree with you to be able to get that. For those people who are already riding, I'm one of those people who are already riding. I'm already in this guy for down. That's a sick amount of pips. That's $93 fall for gold if you're, and that's $93 per ounce. If it makes all the way down here, that's a $450 fall for gold per ounce. So if you have gold, please, please, please be careful if you have gold right now, right? Let's see what we're doing as far as the initial for the people who are trying to swing it. Change time frames, change our bands. And basically, for the people who are swinging, you should already be in a couple of positions. Got in here at the core, stacked here. Basically, it's holding that line, hasn't been able to break back under it. So now we're basically looking for the final line of resistance, breaking under the 15-minute chart on the Apocalypse Man to basically begin the next phase. So basically, the center line of the Apocalypse Man has been holding it in place. And we're saying if we're breaking under that 1937 could spell disaster for this guy. Also notice on the daily scalp is saying, yeah, we're heading more down. Forecast is more down. So please, if you're trying to play this guy up, please don't. Follow the forecast of scalp. Scalp usually, and I say usually like 97% of the time, does not lie about what's going to happen next. So watch the forecast and be ready for a bigger fall on XAU USD. XAG USD. Going to this guy. Turning off. We're starting at the 15-minute. Notice silver's already. I think it was actually silver that Mike was playing. It has been in this sell-off on the daily time frame since September the 3rd. And basically that's all it's been doing. It's been falling and falling accordingly. So if you stacked around the 10th and basically core position, stack position, third position, and basically you would have sold if it got back above that third position, and you would have made profit from these first two. Once he went back under, I call that the gravy train. So basically falling back under the third, basically all you're doing at this point is free falling. On the 15-minute, TSB is saying, yeah, we're going into a further off sell. Daily saying we're going further into a sell. So I'm expecting more red from silver. So I'm expecting literally the market and gold and silver to sell off at the same rate, if not worse. So let's go look at USD, or US 30 USD. All right. So we're looking at this guy, and he's in the sweet spot. We're still underneath all three lines. So I am expecting more down from this guy if he can hold and stay under that 27,650 area. If you are trying to play him up, some people may be, just because they are in a perfect stack, by the way, 1-5-15. So if you are trying to play him up, make sure that your core position is above that 27,650 area. Be very careful because the forecast is still red. But if you are trying to be that bold, please be careful playing counter the trend. He has been in a downtrend for quite a while. I'm going to go to the daily and see what SR tells us. On the daily time frame, we have already turned red. So Atlas is already saying that we shouldn't be here anymore. Turning off these guys. Longer term, he is literally just testing that 2-hour support, and breaking under that 2-hour support is where we would go in on his. So basically him breaking below 27,587 is where we would actually definitively go into the sell trend. If you were playing more aggressive and just using scalp, you've already been here since September the 3rd and you have no regrets. The next leg, if you're stacking, or if you're basically using this as your time frame to play, getting underneath that 27,587 is your mark to play lower, and each one accordingly. If we make it to 26,141, that will be the biggest sell-off that we will see this year, in my opinion. They're too close. They're stacked. Anytime they get stacked that way, that's when we see our major sell-offs. I'm going to turn back on this guy. And so getting under that should let us see a floor of about 24,805. And that may be right around election time, truth be told. If I had to draw this out and use a couple of other tools that you guys don't have, that's where I see us going near the election. Not saying where we're going to happen after, but at least near the election for the amount of time that it's going to take to get there. I'm literally, that's October 5th or so, going further out. Let's see. How steep does this have to go to make that happen? Yeah, that's not an unreasonable amount of time. That's not an unreasonable amount of time for there to there. Because literally that's over 3,000 pips for the US 30 versus USD. So if we do a nice slow drift, it makes it more than possible for us to make that happen for us. All right, so let's go look at a couple of other things. A lot of you guys play the Nzd pairs. Nzd pairs, people play these guys because they are price per pip the cheapest. And why not, right? If it's price per pip the cheapest, why not play it? So first I'm going to turn off the arbitrage band again and see what SR is talking to us about. SR on this time frame looks like we are above the daily. We are above the center of this Atlas line on the daily, and we are above all three. So all three lines, if you're in, then you're just riding, and you have been riding for quite some time. This guy has literally been a champion for the guy playing up 16% plus for the last 6+ months. If you literally were just playing up, last 6 months have been glorious, and basically, if you've been playing that way, great. The tide, however, is changing. So I'm expecting this guy to start to fall back and to get closer to that 164.9 area and hold it. So basically, my core position for this guy, I'm looking for this guy to actually come back down, and anything underneath that 66,323 is where I would start my sell-off. That's where I would put my core position in and under. The ride up has been great, but basically all good things have to come to an end. So let's see if he will come down and give us more of that. They are perfectly stacked 2-hour, 4-hour daily. So that's what I'm expecting. They are in perfect alignment for a sell-off. So let's see if it happens. He may just hold the line. And even if he held the line, if I was opportunistic to get that, that's still 140 something pips. Why not play it if it's going to give it to me, right? All right, let's go down to the 15-minute chart to see if that's even possible at this point. Has he sold off enough to get us there yet? For the people who are playing the swing. On the swing, we have he is below all three at this point, guys. So basically, for the people who are swinging, you would already be stacked all three at this point playing down. So basically, him staying underneath that 66,547 is where you want to see him stay. He is still on a daily underneath, and basically going into the end of the day, looks like it was trying to shake you or see if you had a weak hand. And was trying to tell you that we're going up, but under all of the apocalypse, 1 minute, 5 minute, and 15 minute, he is still under that line. So you have lots of contention here and at the 5 and 15. All the apocalypse bands or a line right there should rebuff you and should tell you that you are still going to be heading down longer term. If by chance he does make it over that 166,682, we could go into an uptrend, but I am not expecting that because of where we're sitting for the forecast right now. Okay? All right. Anybody have any other pair that they would like me to look at while we are here? Please let me know, or any stock for that matter, because a lot of people played Tesla and Apple, and they did that reverse split and whatnot. Actually, I'm going to look at Tesla real quick because I bought into Tesla at 353.68 was my exact buy-in point, and I told people in the channel that I was buying into that guy, and that was somewhere over here, very near that Z. So basically, we got to ride up, and basically have I have at this point I have 200 shares of this guy. And I'm trying to see if he's going to hold the line and keep going up. The 15-minute chart is basically we need him to get to 391 to hold before I add any more shares to this. How I stack when I'm trading stocks is basically I have 100 shares at this point, and then the 200 shares basically him getting above that line, and so I'm holding my core position at 100 shares. Him getting back above that line makes me put my 100 shares back on, and then my third and final position will go in another 100 shares at 391 for the longer term trade. All right. So I'm going to switch now to the daily time frame on this guy. And this is in my IRA that I'm playing this guy. So I have my first core position in, and my core position is still holding, and I'm trying to see if he's going to maintain this, right? For those people who have just been playing longer term, and on the daily, you've got your first warning to sell. Nothing has told you to go back in just yet. If you're still stacked and basically had your 300 shares from when you got it, when it was technically at $300, and just have been riding, nothing has told you to sell. You basically saved yourself some heartburn if you did sell at the Z, and or basically you might be able to get yourself in some more. I see it coming out the other side, the sweet spot, which means the trend is weakening enough to actually try to give me an up. Notice TSB is also neutral on the daily, so I am expecting him to be able to hold that and get another burst up on Tesla. Apple, I am still on Apple. I am still waiting for 104. Nothing is telling me that he has bottomed out just yet. 104 is a target that I'm looking for to get in on Apple. He's still in that sweet spot. He's still in the downtrend. Nothing is going to make me buy. Literally, I'm expecting him to rebuff off of that. The edge of this band is where I'm expecting him to hold. If he doesn't hold there, support and resistance is saying he can get as low as $90 before he's actually forced to do that. Let me actually go back to Tesla and see where his support is. He has a 236 floor, so if things do not go as planned for Tesla, and I'm forced to get back out at 353.68, so basically, if I have to basically sell out, I won't just hold it if it gets back to my break even. I will literally sell at my break even and wait for this next rebuff at 236 to be able to buy more. I'm not expecting that because of what's going on with these guys, but hey, you never know. So basically, I'm making contingency plans to make sure that we are always trading in the right direction. If you are ever antsy, you can turn on more support and resistance lines to see if there's a closer target. And basically, that 300 also looks like another target if I was playing on the 4-hour chart. So all I'm doing is playing with my lines to make sure that I see where my support and resistance are. So the 1-hour chart is saying that we are holding that line right now, and that's what we're holding right now. So as long as he holds, we win. If he breaks under, that's what makes me leave. Quite literally, this is why I got in this guy, because I saw him and I expected him to hold this position, and he did. And getting back under is actually where I entered my core position, and I'm holding that, guys. And hopefully you guys are holding right there with me. All right. Once again, anybody have any questions or anything that they'd like me to see or talk about before we go any place else? Okay. If not, like I said, if you guys weren't with us before we started recording, we are expecting to release a new version of the website this week. We have a couple of things that we have to get out of the way, a couple of bugs that we're trying to smash to make sure that your experience with the new system is great. If you are currently using awandaforex.com or E-Trade or Robinhood, we've actually added Robinhood into the mix as well. Automation is coming to you this week when we release the new trade assistant platform on the new website. So please, please, please stay tuned. For Jason, SR is also going to be released to the novice level this week, along with, for people who are at the intermediate level, there is an SR Pro, which will let you mix and match your bands on the different time frames if you want to. So that a lot of new stuff is coming, and we are very excited to be able to give it to you guys. If that's all for everybody, I'm going to end it here. We got about 7 minutes before the trading week begins. Stay tuned, and Abdul is going to be on at 6, giving his forecast on some other pairs. I know he was looking at tacos last week and a few others that I have not played in a while. So I'm looking forward to that. So you should too. He should be on in about 2 hours from now. Thank you guys for joining, and we will see you in about 2 hours. Thanks again, guys.